if you got a girl, don't mean no disrespect, but thoughts of you rule my world. I even dream of you, I swear.
Hi everyone, welcome back to
Visions of
Happy Hour Talk. My
you.
name is Ruth,
And I'm China.
and today's episode we're going to switch things up a little bit, do a story time or a couple of story times about our most epic fights, a little couple of bops to the head. Do you remember your first fight, your first argument, like what went down, how you felt, all that?
Got you. My first fight, was it kindergarten or was it first grade? I think it was kindergarten. I was bickering with this neighbor's like cousin or maybe like I don't know, their little niece or something. And basically, I'm not even going to lie, she technically beat me up because if I was like 6 or 7, she might have been like, I guess, 5 or 6. And she was smaller than me. And I didn't feel comfortable hitting her all the way because I knew I could tear her up. Like, even at that age, I had some anger in me. But yeah, it was just one of those things where she had been picking with me all day, being annoying. And that was kind of like my first experience with like, maybe this person is picking on me because of jealousy. Like, of course, at 7, I don't 100% understand the concept of jealousy, but I'm like, I've never met this girl before. There's no other reason for her to not like me or be mean to me, but I do know she's not going to keep talking to me crazy. So I absolutely went up to her and, started going back and forth. But yeah, so I think that was my first fight. It was over nothing for real. Just she was being smart. I wasn't having it. She didn't have no reason to really have feel no type of way against me. I think there might have been a little jealousy or intimidation, and but I definitely let her have it because I knew I couldn't beat her up. I knew that I would definitely get in trouble because I was older than her. That's just the kind of people I come from. You're supposed to be the bigger person and walk away. So that was the first fight I ever remember having. Now, the second fight that I had was probably like third grade. And it was one of those things where she was, I guess it all starts with us getting smart, right? We all got smart mouths. It was like third grade. We were on the playground. And all I remember is she had said one thing too crazy. And I pushed her and she fell down. So she pushes me back and she pushes me into the fence. I said, oh, it's on. So we can fight for real now. Like that, you push me into the fence. Like I have all the, I don't know, like that's the green light to me. I can fight you.
Approval.
Yes, absolutely. So she pushes me into the fence. I'm not even gonna lie, I was taken aback because this was not a girl that I connected with like being about it. I'm not saying that I was talking crazy to her because I thought I could like boss her around. It's just that I never would have got the vibe that she was gonna like come at me like she did. And I think we
The
were about
weak
this.
ones, the quiet
Absolutely. And we were the same size, so no size advantages there. But yeah, so we just started thumping. We just, we shared a common friend, and honestly, I think that's where some of the animosity arose, is because we both were this girl's friend. I think I was a neighbor to the girl, and currently, or at the time, and the other girl that I had fought was like a previous neighbor of the mutual friend. So that's really what it was. We were getting smart with each other, and I think we were just a little bit maybe not jealous of each other, but just possessive of the mutual friend that we shared. But yeah, we started thumping, got sent to the counselor's office. Counselor threatened to call both of our parents. It's so funny how we were more like scared of getting our parents called on us than getting in trouble. Like when they were like, we're thinking of writing you up or giving you a referral or suspending you for the next couple of days, I was just still like really angry from the fight. I didn't care. But when
yeah.
they said they were going to call my mom, that's when I started crying.
Yo, performative.
Absolutely. I ain't going cap. Because I knew like the ass whooping at home was completely different than me having a referral. And so the counselor just made us talk it out and, hey, you apologize. Okay, now you apologize. And why were y'all fighting for? And then they made the mutual friend come in once we told why we were fighting. They made the mutual friend come in and kind of be the, I don't know, like Dr. Phil or Yamla. She was trying to be the guru. I'm like, oh my gosh, get real. We are in third grade. Not y'all got her in here to try to decompress the situation. But yeah, it ended up I never really was cool with the other girl, but me and the mutual friend were still cool because we were neighbors, so it would have been weird. And, we never had any beef after that. I was never cool with her. Honestly, I think that girl unfortunately ended up going on to pass later on in life.
Wait, no.
Yeah, she had an addiction. I think she had maybe taken some bad medication or bad pills or something. But, definitely an interesting experience. I was at least glad that I was able to kind of mend the situation because it's always awkward like when you see people later on and like you don't know if there's still beef because I do remember seeing her at least one more time. It might have been at like the roller rink or something, the skating park or whatever. We didn't say anything, but at least it wasn't beef, right? It was just kind of one of those. So yeah, but that was the second fight I was ever in. And honestly, after that, I thought I'd never be in a fight again because I had already been in 2 fights at that point by third grade. And I was like, I don't think I like this.
You need to pipe down.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I have only thought of 3 fights in my life, but technically there's been 4. Let me try to hurry up and wrap this up. I can go on. I used to be out there fighting, girl. The third fight was in 5th grade, and I had just moved with my grandma to rural Kentucky. And, it's just a demographic change from living in an urban area to going to a predominantly white rural space. And this one guy, he was not a good person, but I was playing on the slide, and then he decides he wants to come and play with his Hot Wheels at the end of the slide. And I'm like, I'm coming down the slide, move your Hot Wheels. And he's like, no, you don't own it. So I came down anyway and knocked the Hot Wheels out the way as I should, period. And so he decides to hit me. And once you hit me, it's up. It's always going to be up. That's all I need.
Dude.
Really, it's a guy. It was a guy. It was a guy.
Okay.
I'm not a confrontational person, but if you start with me, cool, I'm giving it back. So, of course, we started thumping. Now, unfortunately for this man, he was not well liked. So I had some other friends that decided to hop in the fight. We kind of jumped them. This is 5th grade. We're on the playground.
Okay.
Where it's supposed to be fun day, but we're cutting up and fighting. One guy clotheslined him like he was in the WWE. Oh my gosh. It was crazy.
Little boxers, like what?
Yes, we jumped him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I do think he called me a slur, so that added on to it. I'm like, oh, now I really get to beat you up. Like, as long as you keep fueling me to keep fighting you, we're going to keep fighting. It doesn't matter.
First of all, how does he know this word in 5th grade,
Well, it's that type of area, so
Got you.
From young age, right? So yeah. That happened, but what did happen there? I don't remember if that boy got in trouble. He might have got banned from the rest of the fun days because it was the end of school year, so they had like a fun day celebration. He might have got banned for the rest of them, and I did too. But I had just moved there from, like I said, the city, so I had an event in the city that I was going to anyway, so it didn't matter that I was banned from fun day because I knew I wasn't going to be there for those last couple of days of school anyways.
Period.
The last and final fight that I can remember was it 7th grade? I think it was the summer going into 7th grade. Oh, sorry. And just a little follow up to that last guy. He, like I said, he ended up being a bad person.
Okay.
He ended up going to prison for bad things, is just what I'll say. Repeatedly. Huh?
So I'm like, he didn't pass.
He didn't pass, but he did end up going to prison for assault and, those types of things over and over again. Really bad person. He missed our high school graduation because he had assaulted someone the night before. So this was a bad person. The intuition's been on point to the young age. The last fight was just, she was actually, honestly, my best friend. And I was at her birthday party. Mm-hmm. We were play fighting. You know how some people get kind of sleepy and they start saying stupid stuff or laughing or being a little delirious. I think it was one of those moments. We were play fighting. She was hitting a little too hard. I wasn't having it. And boom, we start fighting. We start rolling and thumping and dragging her. And, her mom's in the other room like, what's going on out there? It was one of those situations. A sleepover without a fight is not a true sleepover, okay? Y'all gonna fight at least once that night and be cool by the morning. But, yeah, we started fighting. I wasn't having it. Did I win that fight? I felt like I won that fight, but it might have
Actually,
actually been a draw. I do remember my best friend being like, and you know, better not nobody jump in this fight because I'm not letting my bestie get beat up. Yeah,
okay.
this is my other best friend. And, but yeah, we did stop being as close. We reconnected in high school because I fought her when I was in middle school. We reconnected in high school. We were never as close as we once were, but you know, we're cool. If I see her today, I'll show love. She's doing all right. And, you know, period. Those are my little fights. I just can't let nobody talk to me crazy. That's really what it came down to. Don't talk to me crazy unless you want to fight.
And I've noticed throughout your stories that like you seek like this one approval. It's either someone touches you or says something crazy, a switch goes off, and you're
That's
like,
it.
okay, let's go, you know?
Absolutely. I'm not confrontational. I don't want to smoke, but if you started, I got to defend myself, you know?
And it sounded like you finished it. Some of them.
Period. Period. Some of them.
All right. So it's always the neighbors, right? For me,
Yes.
like I grew up getting bullied in elementary school. And I was just like this young 4 or 5 year old girl from like Africa, Ghana, West Africa. And I would get bullied all the time. So the like most memorable fight was we had just got off the school bus and one of the neighbors, we were in the same grade. She was bigger than me. I think she was just like talking crazy about like I was just getting bullied, you know, about like where I was from, my accent, all that. So I decided to square up, get buck, you know what I'm saying? So we started fighting. And she tore my ass up. I'm not gonna lie.
You real. Keep it real. That's okay.
But I remember like I had performed this one crazy move. Like I had kicked her in her stomach. Like I vividly remember. Like her name was Jordan, but
Oh my gosh.
kicked her in the stomach, and like that got her. And I ended up running home. And I was just telling my dad, like, if somebody hits me, what should I do? And my dad is very much like the kumbaya kind of man. He's like, just go tell the principal, never hit someone back. But then my mom, she grew up like basically defending herself, like she don't want no smoke. Nobody wants smoke from my mom. So she's like, if someone hits you, hit them back. So I had two kind of perspectives, like don't hit someone back or hit someone back. Um, but Jordan, the girl that I fought during that day, I ended up seeing her. We were working in a factory like during summer break in college. And I still had like beef and animosity towards her. And I don't even think she remembered like the fight or anything. She was just like, hey girl, like just walking around, didn't care about anything. And I'm
Wow.
just like, it's so funny what like bullying can do to people. Like
Absolutely. It
I,
impacts everybody different.
it really does. Like, I still hold some of the animosity towards her until this day. Um, and then since that moment when I was bullied, I realized that I became a bully around like fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade in middle school. So like what was done to me, I started doing to other people,
That's real.
especially like oh, okay, I knew who to pick on, right? Like, this is messed up for me to say, but like, I just knew that some people couldn't whip my butt, so I would just pick on them. And I remember one time I had told this girl like I was gonna steal her, and at the time, still meant like uppercut, hit you in the jaw type stuff. So the girl had an older sister. I know her older sister told my sister, she was like, why did your sister Ruth say she was gonna steal my sister Taylor? And my sister is very much like a loner, keeps to herself. She doesn't know any of this lingo. So she was like, why would Ruth want to kidnap Taylor? And like,
That's crazy. Still literally is crazy.
like when my sister told me that, I was just like sitting there, like I knew what it meant, like steal, but she didn't. And I'm like, I don't think my parents or like my siblings knew how psychotic I was at that time Because when I would come home, I would act like this sweet little angel. And then when I would go out in the streets, I was like going crazy. But you made a good point, like last week when we were talking about it, how people change. I don't know what happened. I guess like eighth grade or something. Like I just changed, try to become like a child of God, like stop cursing, stop hitting people, stop bullying people. So
Absolutely. It's that brain development, though.
I mean, sometimes it's that little dog in me is still in there.
As it should be. That
No,
dog.
but like when someone says like the craziest things to me, I'm just like, God, please help me, or like you might get the pow pow, but we can't do that at our
I
age.
know. We're older. We can get charges pressed against us now. But you just be thinking about those moments. For example, when you're watching like online viral moments of like Karens or stuff like that, you're like, oh gosh, God knew that that couldn't be me because he knew that I would have reacted in a way that would have had me sitting at the county.
For sure. Like even do you remember that video of the UK black girl being called the N-word and how she
Hmm.
herself
Yes, graceful.
gracefully, but a lot of people are like, you should fight back, hit them. Now we know the consequences. So
Yeah, the repercussions are different for us. And of course, even that girl ended up in jail overnight or whatever it was. So
yeah. But the fact that like you mentioned you were you not suspended all of those times?
I technically was for the fun day thing, but it was like literally the last 2 or 3 days of school. So it didn't matter.
So what made you change since like you weren't basically given like reprimands?
I think I stopped interacting with people as much. I think my circle got smaller.
Okay.
Um, you know, because I definitely might have had one or two more almost fights in middle school, but it just a lot of things were going on for me personally too, and I'm like, I'm already going through a lot. Lord knows I don't need the suspensions and referrals and having my grandma worry about who's going to watch me for the day. Although at that age I could watch myself, but I don't want to put that on her, and so those were the types of things that I was thinking about by the time I'd made it to middle school. I was like, it's not worth it.
For sure. And were you ever like the bully at some point, like me?
Definitely, my mouth was real smart. I think I would say mean things and not think about how mean they were until after the fact. Never like
Oh,
physically or forcefully a bully, I don't know, knocking people into trash cans or spilling their milk, but definitely
yeah,
my mouth was really smart. I think a lot of people honestly didn't like me because they felt like I just had a real smart mouth and, I would say stuff and not even like really, even though I was articulate, I didn't know how to articulate myself. And I think they didn't like me for that reason. So
yeah.
yeah, for me, I think that changed when I started working and just I wasn't interacting with people as much. So there was less time to beef because they would only see me once a month or something.
I feel that.
Yeah.
One thing that would have been interesting for me is if I had like better articulation of my feelings because I would have ate the girls up. But yeah, like they were just bullying me, calling me words and stuff, and I was just quiet.
Absolutely. And I can only imagine what that was like coming from a whole different country. Like,
Yeah.
especially, I was trying to figure out how'd you end up in Kentucky? What was it about Kentucky? Why'd
My
y'all come?
parents, girl, I don't know. People
Okay.
ask me that all the time. I just think they felt it was like a calm, safe area to raise kids.
Yes.
It was affordable,
Definitely calmer.
calmer. Yeah, because like I was born in Jersey, and I wonder like how my situation would have been if I grew up in Jersey.
Yeah, and I was also wondering why did they go to the smaller town? Was it just like I wish they would have went to the bigger city in Kentucky.
So I honestly, when I asked my mom, I think she had a friend recommend Kentucky to her, so she visited. She liked it. It was like she was able to afford her own apartment by herself at that time, and then my dad moved in with my mom, so it was just better, I guess. But yeah, and oh, never mind. I was because
What is it?
no. This is just like it's the whole like African beef situation that I don't really want to touch on, but
I hear you.
I was just like bullied by like certain people compared to other people, and like we've heard this debates a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's interesting. So we live and learn. We're growing up. Oh, T, when you have children, or if you decide to have children, right? And if they're like, Mom, someone is bullying me, what are your thoughts on that?
They're allowed, if it gets physical, they're definitely allowed to hit back. I'll be there to pick them up, you know. I'll be there to sign the referral and keep them home for a couple of days while they, everything calms down. But, you would hope that there would be a place for you to be able to go and speak with a teacher or speak with the principal and make it clear, like, hey, my child is being bullied, or, and taking them out of the school system, having to go to like a different school in the district is hard. I wouldn't want to do that. But if that's what needed to be done, I would do that too. I would do whatever.
Yeah.
Make it easier. What about you?
Ooh. I would tell them to not hit back unless like you have no options but to go crazy and like defend yourself. Because things get like violent and scary. I hate when
That's
people fight.
true. We've been hearing stories about people getting stabbed or
Yeah,
anything else. It does get real. I hear you on that part. I really do. Maybe that'll make me
especially,
think differently.
yes, especially when like young black men fight. I hate it. Like I remember even in high school, people would be recording fights. I hate it. Like it's very, very scary for me because it always turns violent and sometimes deadly, and I'm like, mm-mm. But also, I was gonna say, the people who were bullying me or like bullies in general, they were going through their own things. Like I just realized growing up, like they didn't have the best upbringing and stuff. So the way people act when they're little, it's very like much intentional, or it makes there's a reason behind it. So yeah.
Great point. Great thing to remember.
But yeah, I guess that's it. We had pretty funny stories. Comment down below if you have any fun story times or fight story times, I guess. I don't know.
We want to hear the tea. Drop the tea
Yeah,
about your confrontations and smackdowns.
no facts. Do you have any other things to comment on?
I do not. Thank you all for the support. We
Mhm,
appreciate it.
for sure. And we will talk to you all later. See ya.
Bye.